Hey guys, welcome to the August garden tour. It's been a while. I think I last checked in sometime around the end of July, and I just can't believe how quickly the season's gone by. I say that every single year, and somehow in spring I think that it's gonna go differently and I'm gonna have this really long, lazy summer. It never quite works out that way. Lots of things have developed in the garden. We are harvesting like crazy right now. I mean, that's what happens end of August, early September. The garden is just exploding. Lots of new developments, got some diseases that definitely set in with my tomatoes and elsewhere, and some really cool stuff. So let's start the tour. All right, let's start with the tomatoes. I harvested a lot of these earlier today. I probably should have waited so you guys could see everything, but here we've got some pineapple tomatoes. You can see there's a few here. This guy is probably ready to come off, sure. They're tiny, yellow, kind of pinkish, sweet. Supposed to taste like a pineapple, and they kind of do. This one back here, so this is actually two plants. This one is the one that I showed you in the last video that was starting to get that disease and has just about completely died. This was Aunt Ruby's German green tomato. The pineapple tomato, it's definitely got some blight, as you can see with these yellowing leaves here, but the other disease, the Fusarium wilt, which a lot of you chimed in and commented on my last video and said that's probably what this is. That's not really setting into a lot of these other plants. So there's definitely more than one thing happening here. But generally speaking, I'm happy with where the plants are. They've produced enough for me to consider this a successful season, and the tomatoes have been really delicious. So overall, I'm a happy gardener. I did lose a few plants. I don't remember quite what you saw last time, but there was a tomato plant here. There was a tomato plant back there. Other plants have kind of just come in and taken over. So over here, my Beef Masters, I've been getting tons of huge, juicy red tomatoes off of this one. This is a big pink and white stripe. I got a few really nice ones off of this that are ironically not pink, white, or striped. They're pretty much just yellow, but they're very tasty as well. And then over here, my Evergreen gave me an incredible amount of tomatoes, but was just dying off in the process. And you can see it's completely, pretty much totally dead. Yeah, I can't even tell which tomato is which anymore because they just kind of grow on top of each other. Now back here, you can see I have lots of different viney things happening that have just gotten out of control, as they always do. But that mystery squash that I pulled out of my beet/carrot bed earlier this year and planted over here has resulted in multiple, can you see these? Multiple beautiful big butternut squash. I'll come around to the other side and show you. But I also have some zucchini and watermelon and cantaloupe, which I've never grown before. I've never grown melon. But you can see we've got a nice little cantaloupe forming, so I'm excited for that. Zucchini has been okay. I've gotten a few, not a ton. I was able to harvest a lot of the flowers and stuff them and fry them, which were delicious. We have one here. It's looking a little funky. I'm gonna let it keep going a little bit longer, and I don't know. I'm not that concerned. I've eaten plenty of zucchini this year, so I don't really care. Here is that butternut squash I told you about. Check that out, so cool. Grew butternut squash once before. I think I maybe got one off of the plant, but there are a lot coming in. Over here we have a watermelon that is shriveled up, and I don't know why, and I kind of don't even really care, but if somebody has a thought as to why my watermelon is all shriveled and weird looking, give me a shout. But here I had carrots and beets, which I pulled up, and I'm gonna be planting a fall garden, so I've got some stuff to amend my soil, and I'm gonna be putting in some broccoli and some Brussels sprouts. Now look at these peppers. The peppers are going off. So many of them. These are called ají dulce, and they're one of my absolute favorites. They get this beautiful color of like a corally red, and they have a flavor similar to a habanero, but without really any of the heat. They have a little bit of spice to them, and actually the crop that I grew this year is a lot hotter than the ones I've grown in years past, and I think it's because the weather has been so hot and humid this August, but even still they're very, very mild when you compare them to a habanero, but they still have that beautiful, really fruity, full flavor. I love these. Back here we've got some serranos and these jalapenos, and these are called Laurel Peppers. Beautiful. These are all fiery hot, really, really hot peppers, which I love, not everybody else does. And this one has been, I don't want to call it a disappointment as much as it's been a surprise, in that this is an orange jalapeno, very pretty looking pepper. Pull one of these off so you can see. Orange jalapeno, however, has absolutely no heat to it whatsoever, like not even a little bit of spice. So I guess a little disappointing in that you think you're growing a jalapeno and it really tastes like a bell pepper, but they'll get used up just the same. Moving on to my eggplant. I still have, actually before the eggplant, I still have some celery here. I never fully dug up, and I'm glad I didn't because they made a really nice garnish for some Bloody Marys earlier this summer. And so the eggplant is doing really well. It's huge. We've got lots of eggplant growing. You can see that one down there. The only thing is I harvested some of these earlier and they weren't very good. They were really, 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 really seedy. They didn't have that beautiful white eggplant flesh that gets creamy when you cook it. It was all seeds, bitter eggplant seeds. So I wasn't really a fan of that, but I'm gonna let these go a little longer and see what happens. So more peppers down here. These peppers weren't doing quite as well as the other ones because they just weren't getting enough sun and probably enough nutrients because I planted too many things too close together, but hey, what else is new? Some of these are ready to harvest. These are called Crimson Hots. I haven't tried these yet. I believe this is a Thai orange chili. A lot of new pepper varieties I tried this year, so we shall see. I have this crazy big tomatillo. Lots of flowers, lots of fruit coming in. Usually I don't get my big tomatillo harvest until like October. So I've picked a few off of here, but not really enough to, make salsa or anything yet. You can see them dropping to the ground. And then here is my pineapple tomatillo. These things are super awesome. They fall to the ground. They're also known as ground cherries or husk cherries. And if you can pull back this husk, you get this little berry, and they're so delicious. They taste like cotton candy. I love them. The arugula, it's mostly gone to flower and gone to seed, but holy crap, I can't believe I still have as much as I actually do. Arugula, I mean there's like arugula as far as the eye can see. All of this needs to be weeded and cleaned out, but oh well. All of the bugs are coming out now. You can see there's crickets hiding up in there, and the cicadas are going crazy, and I don't really like to be in the garden when I'm getting covered in bugs. Swiss chard, really looking good, really looking nice. I've been harvesting a lot of this and eating this. Kale has been struggling. We've been getting a lot of cabbage worms. I've been dousing it in neem oil. It's starting to come back a little bit, but for a while there it was just getting chewed up and not really going anywhere. We had one of them die. Chamomile starting to die off. A lot of these herbs back here starting to die off. Rhubarb, still going crazy. I'm looking forward to cutting this down at the end of the season and using it for something. And then beautiful sunflowers. Look at these. We've seen lots of monarch butterflies over here lately. Just gorgeous. To me, sunflowers are just synonymous with this time of year. End of August, early September. I love them. I have some zinnias that came up. I actually forgot I even planted these, and they just sprouted up to my surprise. Now over here you can see this was my green zebra that has just completely died. I was able to get a few off of there, and the ones that I did harvest were really tasty. This is the black zebra that has also started to die off, but really has not progressed as quickly. Lots of fruit on here that needs to be harvested. Let's see, that looks like a good one. Aren't they cool? They're not as dark as I thought they were gonna be. They're more red and green, but just a really cool looking tomato overall. And I love the green zebras and the red zebras and the black zebras because they're not huge tomatoes. And as much as I love a really big beefsteak, there's something about those that's just like, you feel like you've won when you grow the biggest tomato ever. But one tomato can feed like 7 people. So if I'm making a sandwich for myself or just want a tomato to snack on, these are really the perfect size for just one person. This pineapple sage, I keep saying I need to cut it down, but like, holy crap, it's out of control. It's absolutely out of control because my rosemary is getting smothered, my tarragon's getting smothered, the oregano is fighting for its life. Lemon verbena is also growing like bonkers. And then, you know, still getting cucumbers. Back there, there's a cuke. Ooh, and there's a beetle or cicada. Ugh, I don't know, whatever the heck that is. Then we have some thyme. One of my thymes, this creeping thyme, has sort of started to die off. Looks like it got some kind of a disease back there, but nothing else really seems to be affected, so I'm okay with it. Basil. Basil, this was not my best year for basil. For whatever reason, this Thai basil is doing well, this lemon basil is doing well, but the other varieties not so much. A traditional sweet basil variety called Eowyn, I believe it was, just died off. I had trouble with that in the beginning of the season, and this year it just didn't want to survive. Purple basil is doing okay. This lettuce leaf basil is doing okay, but generally speaking, by this time in the season, my basil is like massive. Nasturtiums have been great. We've been using lots of those in salads and for garnishes, and the lavender has been really great. So over here on the patio, these plants have not been doing well at all. They're very hard to water consistently, I found, and they're just dying off. They've just gotten diseases and haven't been doing so great. So this was a big zebra, which is one of my all-time favorite tomato varieties. I had one planted earlier this season in my main bed. I lost it. I happen to have this one left over, so I planted it late in the season. You can see I've gotten some tomatoes off of it, but they're not even close to what I was getting a few years ago. Just really big, beautiful tomatoes, huge harvest. Seems to have the same fusarium wilt that the other tomatoes did, so who knows, honestly. This was a Sweet 100 that did not make it, and my Sun Gold is really not too far behind. The other issue with the Sun Gold is I feel like the birds have discovered it, because I notice the remnants of eaten tomatoes all over the ground, so that really bums me out. What I have in these pots, I still have these potatoes, which I have yet to try and harvest and see what's left. If we got anything at all. This one's just about died off. This one's right behind it. So I will have to check in probably maybe tonight, actually. Maybe I'll see if I have any potatoes tonight. That would be pretty cool. These were definitely an experiment, but hey, everything in the garden's an experiment. So as you can see, lots of good stuff has happened since I last checked in. And even with the tomato diseases and the blight and the cabbage worms and all of the other issues that all of us gardeners have at some point or another, I'm still harvesting so many amazing fruits and vegetables. And I have my work cut out for me later today because I really need to get in and bring a lot of the stuff into the kitchen and start cooking with it. That's really why I do this, so I can cook the incredible vegetables and quite literally reap what I sow. I hope your gardens are going off right now the same way that mine is, and you're enjoying every single little bit of your harvest. If you need any recipes, be sure to check out my website at coleycooks.com. Leave me a comment, let me know what's happening in your world and in your garden, and I will catch you sometime in September and give you a little update then. Hopefully I'll have some fall crops going. See you then.